there, come on in. My name's Rebecca. I'm a dental hygienist by day. I take care of my plants by night, and I live here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So this is the main entryway. I've got a mirror over here, so if you're on your way out, you can kind of check yourself out a little bit. But I put a few plants here too to kind of just make it look interesting. Growing up in the Philippines, I was definitely surrounded by a lot of tropical plants. Some of the plants that are considered rare and uncommon here are just growing on the street there. So I will admit that they kind of just blended into the background for me when I was younger. But I do remember when I was very little, my dad had trees, and I have pictures of myself as a little kid in her diapers watering my dad's trees. So that's probably my earliest memory of, taking care of plants. I have these two plant cabinets right there. They're definitely conversation starters. Everyone loves looking at them. I've got a few cool vining plants. I think it just adds a really cool jungle look. This one here is one of my favorites. So this is a Philodendron Pink Princess. I definitely baby it a lot. I just love how vibrant the colors are on that one. This is probably one of my favorite spots in the house right now. This is our main living area. Definitely wanted to make the space look nice and cozy and very welcoming. My husband and I met when we were both in university. We both graduated from the U of M here. He happens to be in the military, so when he graduated from his program, the military decided to post him to Victoria. And at the end of our 4 years, the military wanted to move us again, and they just decided to move us back to Winnipeg. We have family here, so we were like, I guess we can go back. When I moved from BC back to Winnipeg, there definitely was a difference in the way I had to take care of my plants. Winnipeg being a drier climate in the winter especially, and the winters lasting so long, I kind of had to acclimate my plants to that lower humidity. The other thing that I also discovered was that the water quality is different. So in BC, the water is quite nice. I would water from the tap, it was so easy. But here in Winnipeg, I find that the water here is a lot harder, and I think it's fluoridated as well. Certain plants are a little bit more sensitive to it than others, so the ones that I know for sure are more sensitive to the hard water and the fluoride in the water, I actually bought a distilling machine. I think the plants just kind of help complement the space really well. So I've got a big Philodendron Pastazanum here. I grew it from a really tiny plant, and it's kind of grown into a bit of a monster, but I feel like it works pretty well in this corner right here. This corner gets some really good sun in the summertime. One of my larger plants, I'm kind of scared of the day that it's going to grow taller than me because it's going to be really hard to take this into the shower. But that's my Philodendron Majestic. Here is a Gloriosum. Got some cool striking white veins there. This is always a crowd pleaser as well. I think everybody should have a Gloriosum, to be honest. It's a very easy plant to take care of and very beautiful. We're gonna go over to the kitchen. I don't really have too many plants here in the kitchen because I want to keep the space open for when I'm meal prepping. So I've got a cutting up there, a few vining plants there, a few succulents here because this window gets a lot of sun. So succulents need full sun. I think that that's a good space for them. This is the sink where I water all of my plants. The sink sees a lot of action. So I actually move them around constantly depending on how they're growing and what their needs are. But I definitely think that it livens up the place a little bit. It's not so sterile, which is a very stark contrast to what I do on my 9 to 5. Like I work in a clinic, right? It's super sterile, everything is wiped out and clean. But then to come home to all of this greenery and all of this life is quite refreshing. So coming from the kitchen, we are moving into my dining room. So this here is where my cat likes to eat, but he has a little jungle beside his feeding station as well. So we've got a few big plants here. I've got this plant that I keep in a little bell jar to increase the humidity there. In this corner here are two of my favorite plants in my collection, my Monstera Albos. This is the Monstera Albo that my husband gave me right before he proposed. It's got some sentimental value to me, and I definitely have to keep it alive because I would feel so bad if I accidentally killed this plant. It's grown quite a lot. It was very, very small when I first got it. They sit by the south-facing window, which is a great spot for them because these guys need a lot of light. And the other reason why I like it so much is because it's variegated, so every leaf is a surprise. You're never going to get the exact same leaf twice because of the patterns, right? It's all random. So every time it grows a new leaf, it's like I'm excited all over again. I think this one here, a lot of people have seen my shelf. This is my main plant shelf. All of the plants here are acclimated to low humidity conditions. So right now we're probably sitting at like 45% humidity because I have the AC on, but come wintertime this drops to 20% and I have to water these guys constantly. I just love having them there. It's really cool to, you know, sit at the dinner table, have friends over, and then this is just right there staring at us. I always get distracted by it. I would say on this shelf, probably my favorite plant would be my Alocasia Frydek. This is probably my favorite because it's notorious for being a little bit challenging to grow. People find that the leaves droop very easily and it constantly needs to be watered, but I've somehow managed to grow it this big. I don't even know how I managed it, to be honest, but yeah, I'm pretty proud of this one, so it's one of my favorites. I probably spend a good amount of time on my plants on a daily basis, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour if I've been slacking. I basically just walk around and like stick my fingers in the pots and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna water you today and I'm gonna water you today. It's my form of stress relief, so I actually look forward to that. I think if someone is trying to get into plants for the first time, definitely don't get one that is too expensive. As much as you love something, if you think you're not quite ready to give it the care that it needs, maybe don't get that yet and maybe practice with a cheaper plant. You do have to make an effort to take care of them, but it's not as hard as you think. And then after a while, the plants take care of you too, so it's a good hobby to have.